Hey guys, welcome back to Bearded Lumber. Matthew and I appreciate you tuning in. If you look behind me on this table, we got something nice sitting here. We got a special guest, Shannon from 417 Saw Shop. Give me just a minute and we'll be right back. Hey guys, appreciate you hanging in there. It's a special day for us. Unfortunately, I had to purchase a new saw. My old Husky had been a good servant for many years. It laid down. I'm not here to bash Husqvarna, but the reason there's a Sithl sitting here instead of a brand new Husky, I got a problem with paying $400 more for a new saw than I could a couple of years ago, just because they deleted them and the world said, hey, we want them back. They come back on the market $400 more expensive. So I called my buddy at 417 Saw Shop. I said, I need a new saw. I want something at least 372 in that range or bigger. What do you think about the 572s? And he gave me some good advice. And he suggested this 500i. It's more modern than I was anticipating, but I'm willing to give it a try. In doing so, he did a lot of special work to it, and I'm going to introduce it to you and let him go over what is different about this saw versus a good standard 500i. So give me just a minute and round him up. Okay guys, we got Shannon here, Shannon from 417 Saw Shop. I will link all his information below. He's a Sithl dealer, right?
Or a Sithl dealer.
Yeah, he is an authorized Sithl dealer. You can send him your saws and he'll work on them. Don't inundate him with questions about how to fix your saw. He's running the business. But if you want to get one of these just new, or if you want to get one like mine that's spicy, give him a call. So Shannon, tell us about my saw and what you did to make it spicy.
All right, guys. What we have here is the 500i. It's one of the newer production models that Sithl has come out with. It's a fuel-injected chainsaw. A lot of the newer technologies in the saw. Sithl was the first saw company to make a fuel-injected chainsaw, and currently still the first company. This one has been ported and polished. Basically what that involves is machining the cylinder, cutting the base, a lot of machine work that goes into the cylinder itself. So you got a little bit more performance, actually quite a bit more, close to 30% give or take based on who you talk to. This one has a few extras, as you can see here. It has the Egan straight shot muffler.
Get close up for you guys.
Stainless steel, lifetime warranty, local made here in the United States. Also, the air filter was also a Jason Egan air filter. It's a little dusty from testing. I test these when I build them. I do a test run to make sure the function check, brake works, all your safety stuff is still, because I take this all completely apart. So I want to make sure everything safety-wise, at the very minimum, is working and it performs like it should. So these are washable, reloadable filters. So if you maintain your equipment, the initial cost is a little more than your standard Sithl air filter, but the filtration's a lot better and it lasts a lot longer. So essentially, the life of the saw, if you don't tear it or
cool. That was a question I had, is when should I plan on changing it?
Yeah.
Basically never, if I take good care of it.
Well, maintenance wise, you just blow it off. It gets a little dirty.
When should I re-oil it? What am I looking for? Dry or?
Well, you can feel it. It feels, when you rub your fingers, you can feel that tack. Yeah. It don't have to be sopping.
Yeah, there's just a little sheen on my finger.
Just a little tack. And then when it gets really nasty, Dawn dish detergent or some type of degreaser, nothing super harsh, wash it out, let it dry, re-oil it. PJ1, Bel Ray, any quality foam filter oil. A lot of places have motocross, that sell motocross, sells that kind of oil, and your local
Yeah, I got one on my Amazon cart.
Yeah.
When we get done today, I'll order it. PJ1,
Yeah.
I think what it was.
Bel-Ray, PJ1, any of those are good.
Now, just for the average consumer don't know, what's the list price on a stock 500i?
Stock 500i's, right now, I'm not sure about how the tariffs is going to affect these or if it's even in the realm. Nothing's come down the pipe just yet. I got a feeling they're going to increase. Over the last couple of years, they've increased exponentially, but just based on the cost of materials now versus, pre-COVID. Right now, you're looking around $1,700 for a stock 500i. That's before tax.
Yeah.
And that usually varies between $20. Still, corporate sets the prices, not the dealer. Now there are dealers that can run some deals with lots of limitations. The steel corporate world's pretty strict on area and on cost of whatever saw and whatever range you're at. They initially come with the 25-inch bar. This one has a 25-inch light, which is one of my personal favorites.
It takes a lot of nose weight off of it.
Yeah, it balances well. When you pick it up,
Yeah.
it literally levels itself out. So it's not too tippy. You can run, I've got customers running 54-inch bars with external oilers cutting slabs with them.
Sure.
Yeah, so they're a beast. They're a beast of a saw. There again, we'll go back to fuel injection real quick. A little difference between these saws, you got a primer bulb here. Per the manual, it says pump 10 times on a cold start. After it's ran or after you run it, or if it's even warm outside, I've never personally had to do that 10 times just on a cold start. Once you get it running,
No choke.
no choke. Just this big orange button, that's your stop button. So
That's it.
That's it. Pretty simple.
Prime it and pull.
Yeah, you hit your decomp button here, and
What's the other one?
that is just to take that's what holds your top cover on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you hit your decomp here, you do your prime, and then crank it. You definitely want to use the decomp though on a built saw because it's got a little bit more compression.
Now, explain to me, because I've learned watching your videos, best practices on an electronic saw versus a carbureted saw, not starting but finishing when you get done with it. Because normally, we take a carbureted saw and just turn it off, but
Right.
I've heard to do these, it makes it a little hard to restart.
Yeah, a lot of the issues that people have for these is generally user error, especially with fuel injected saw. The way these things work, it has a small computer in it. It's actually under the cover inside on this side. It builds a loop. That loop is continuous cycle, and it adjusts based on air, fuel, humidity, altitude, fuel, how much air it's sucking through the filter. Like if your filter starts getting clogged, it compensates for that. So, in the same thing, when you're cutting full chutes, full bore, and you let off of it and you shut it down, the problem that they have with what they call cold start issues is because when you go to crank this saw back, that computer in its loop still thinks that you're cutting wide open. So that's what it's telling the saw that you're starting at is wide open cut.
Yep.
So if you let it idle back down, it don't have to be forever today, just a few seconds. Idle back down, come back to idle, kind of resting, and then shut it off. You won't have a problem with what they call the cold start, which is initially when these things first come out on the forums, a lot of people were upset about and all up in arms when it's really just learning the saw. It's a whole different concept with the fuel injection than it is. It's not super hard. It's very cut and dry when it comes to saws, but you don't have to be a rocket scientist. But there is some little nuances that you have to learn. With any other piece of equipment you get, it's got its own personality.
Cool. And I learned that from watching one of his videos, because that was one of my concerns. I read some of the forums, and people said they're hard to start when they're hot. Well, they just told you why. Just get in the habit, and it's a good habit to have. Never turn your saw off after you just cut a 36-inch round.
Yeah.
Let it idle down, you cool off just a little bit, a couple seconds, and then turn it off. I do the same thing with my sawmill. I I get to the end of the cut and I'm gonna turn it off. I try to let it idle down and everything kind of relaxes and normalizes a second or two and then turn it off. Just best practices.
But not only that, not only the loop in the computer, just any piece of machinery, when you're running something full blast, the heat is one of the biggest problems, or one of the biggest destructions of a two-stroke, that and bad fuel or bad oil or a combination. So when it idles back down, not only letting it come back down that loop, you're letting it cool. It's a self-cooling, air-cooled engine. So as it comes back down to idle, not only you let it build its loop back, so when you start it, it's starting from scratch, not from full chutes. It has a chance to kind of cool itself down, which is longevity-wise, any piece of equipment, air-cooled or not, if you let it come back down, it kind of gives itself time to cool off a little bit, which is longevity. You'll get a lot more longevity out of your machine.
Okay. Now I've got a question, and I'm sure my viewers will have the same one. Am I sacrificing length of service by having you make it a little hotter and spicier?
You know, I get that a lot, and that's one of the big questions that a lot of people have, because this is a big expense. As any new piece of equipment now is pricey, regardless of what it is. The answer is no, and the reasons being, due to certain restrictions that are on certain machines, I guess the easiest way to explain it, these things are detuned. The things that you do to make these things operate at a higher performance level also gives them higher performance to cool. It gives them higher performance to breathe. So you got more cool air coming in, and with the change of the muffler,
I've always thought that was the worst thing. It's restricting one.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge restriction. There again, you got to go back to what we was talking about earlier. Like, heat is like probably your number one enemy of a two-stroke, because it is air-cooled, small engine. You're running high RPMs, 15, 16,000 RPMs. So it builds a lot of heat. And when you raise the compression, when you build one, it raises heat. But you're exponentially getting out way more exhaust gases, those hot gases, exiting the saw, than you would be if you had your stock muffler. So, you know, there again, that question comes up a lot: will you lose longevity if it's built? 99.9% of everything I've ever saw in my saw building career, you know, I'm not a know-it-all, but has been user error is what it's linked to. You know, bad fuel, lack of maintenance, you know, not keeping your stuff clean. It's like anything else. If you maintain it, then it'll last. If you don't, then it's not. But as far as running wise, you pick up a lot of performance. You're getting in a lot more airflow. You're getting it out a lot faster. So getting that heat out really helps longevity. So I personally think, and professionally, that a built saw will actually last longer as long as it's maintained.
Yeah. Now, going along with that, Sithl as well as Husqvarna, they build two kinds of saws. They build a homeowner saw and they build a pro saw. You don't build homeowner saws. There's nothing there. They're built at a price point to sell to a homeowner.
Yeah.
This is a pro saw with a aluminum case or magnesium case. And you know, the price jumps exponentially because you're buying a pro saw.
Right.
But if you want to have Shannon do this kind of work, you're going to start out with a pro saw.
Right.
Whether that's a Husqvarna XP,
some of the Echo, there's a few Echoes.
Out there.
7310.
Sithl don't have a designation. 290 is a homeowner saw.
Yeah. Basically, you can. The 261 is kind of your entry level on your smaller saws.
Yeah.
Which is all around great firewood saw. One of my personal favorites. I build a lot of those. And then it goes up from there. Your 362 is kind of your entry level steel in your steel line.
This is a small saw. It's a little small saw. You can go buy a Husqvarna 440 Rancher for what? $400?
Probably.
$500?
Give or take.
This is a $700 saw, people. And the reason being, it's a 550 XP. It's a magnesium case. It's a pro saw. Now, he could work on this saw.
Oh, those saws are fast.
This thing is miles ahead of what a 450 or 440 Husky ever thought about being.
Well, in anything professional line, you're kind of paying for what you get. And there again, another thing, I'm not telling people to run out and buy a pro saw if you don't need one, but one of the good things about the pro line, where it's a Husqvarna, a Sithl, an Echo, is they're built to maintain. They're built to work on. In other words, stuff is made to be replaceable as they wear out. Whereas the homeowner saws, once it gets, quote, worn out, it's pretty much trash. It's going to cost you more to fix it than it's going to be to replace it. So, would you buy, the theory is with another pro saw, or another selling point is, I'm trying to sell you a saw, but you could buy 5 homeowner saws, or you can buy 1 of these saws, because if something does go wrong with it, it's fixable. Whereas the homeowner saw, they're pretty much not. It's just not cost effective.
Yeah, I've started out with some homeowner saws, and they're not.
They have their place.
They got their place. They got their price point. And if you just need it, saw a little firewood once, twice a year, don't spend this kind of money. But if you want a saw that's going to be with you 30 years, spend this kind of money, take care of it, and it'll last. My dad's got a 77 Husky up there I grew up sawing firewood with. He don't run it because it's old technology, but I go up there and put gas in it, it'll run.
Yeah, the old saws, I think, were built better just because of the...
And it's heavy.
They're heavier. They put a lot more metal in, and they started focusing probably about the mid-2000s on a lot of weight. So, you've got, the 25-inch bar, you've got roughly 15 pounds. Now, this is an 80cc saw. So this is a big saw for 15 pounds. It's actually 15 pounds and change, and I want somebody to correct me here, and it's 79 point something cc, but they still says it's an 80cc saw, so that's what I'm telling you. But for 15 pounds and the amount of cutting power you have, you could literally use this one saw to do anything. You can cut small wood with it, you can cut big wood with it, and it's not going to wear you out as bad as having a ginormous older big saw. And, because them older saws, man.
Yeah, but when my Husky laid down, I got my old Sithl 066 out, and that's like lugging around a boat anchor.
Yeah.
And then I dropped it, broke the handle on it, and I had to get my 394 Husky out and run it, and it's a big boat anchor.
Yeah, those things are hoss. They're good saws, but man, they are heavy.
I've been looking
screams at you.
I've been looking forward to getting the 066 and 394 power in a 15-pound package.
Yeah, it's nice. And I'm not a spring chicken, but when I use the 3 saws that I use is a small limb saw around my property. A 261 is kind of my go-to firewood / cut whatever. And then if I bring out the 500, I have one personally that I use on my property and for my bigger stuff.
Now they still make the 660 and the 880, right?
They do. 881, 661.
Yeah.
This year they changed the 400, and they're doing away with the magnesium piston that was in it, which is kind of a shame because it was a really good running saw. So I think it's a 400.1, and they're supposedly discontinuing the 362. So that 400 is kind of going to fill the gap.
Right.
I don't know if the price point's going to come down since they're taking the magnesium piston away, but
now I'm not up on the Sithl brand as quite as much as I am with the Huskies, but I know once you pass the 372 Husky and you get into the bigger saws, you gain torque, but you give up RPM. Is that kind of the same thing with Sithl when you jump up 661, 881?
In a stock saw, yeah, not so much built, but a 6 pretty much. Well, yeah, because you got more rotating mass. You can't spin that rotating mass as fast as you can because it's so much bigger in a smaller saw. But that being said, the 500i is kind of a good mix. Yeah. You still got your good chain speed, and you could run 8-pin sprocket on this if you wanted to. If you wanted a little bit more out of it.
See, I've got a 3120 Husky, and this saw will outcut it on a 25-inch bar.
Right.
But that Husky I bought to run a 4-foot and a 6-foot bar.
Oh, it would smoke. It wouldn't even.
Right. So each saw has its application. I bought this for cutting rounds. We got some big oak logs out here that need cut in half, and we'll take it out there and use it in a minute. And yeah, I could drag out the big saw, but this one will outsaw it with that 25-inch bar, speed-wise. and it won't wear me out near as bad hauling it around.
And these saws too stock, you can get them with up to a 36-inch bar. Now, I'm not a big proponent of running a big bar on these saws.
No, buy a bigger saw.
Buy a bigger saw.
Yeah, that's why I have a 3120. That's my big bar saw. Right. If we get a log needs cut in half, or it's 4 foot and needs the end bucked off of it, that's what I use it for. Yeah. If we're just out here bucking 24 or 36-inch logs, I had a 372. We're replacing it with this 500i. Lightweight, plenty of torque, and I don't have to stand there all day. I could saw it with this little saw, but I'd have to work my way around it in a circle. Yeah. And this saw does not need a longer bar on it. It's got a 14, 16-inch bar on it. 16-inch bar. For the horsepower range, that's all that saw needs. Mm-hmm. So,
those are good saws. They'll rip.
I think we covered all the topics on it. I hope you found that informative. You give us a lot of good detail. Like I say, he runs 417 Saw Shop. He's got a YouTube channel. It's 417 Saw Shop. We'll link it all in the description. Go check out his videos. We're going to knock him over 1,000 subscribers real quick with you guys' help. Let's get our stuff together. We're going to go out here and make a couple cuts. He's got to go back to work.
Yeah, I got to go build some saws.
So give us a minute. We'll be right back, guys. Okay, guys, we're out here at my log pile. Got the chainsaw. Shannon thought the chain was a little loose, so he went to get the tensioner. We're going to tighten the chain. What I got is some 16-foot white oak customer had hauled in here, and we're going to make 8-foot hardwood flooring out of it. So I need to buck them in half, and that's what I bought this saw for, is bucking these big white oak logs. This is about 22 inches across, and this one up here is about 24 inches across. Let him tighten the chain. We'll be right back and do a cold start on it. Or he can show us how to tighten the chain on one of these.
Yeah. I think I made you stick.
Yeah, I gotta take a measure.
It's pretty self-explanatory here. This chain's new.
Now, are these pre-stretched or?
No, they're not. So it's probably about mid-cut. It's gonna get loose with you again.
Yeah. I do like that they've moved the tensioner to the outside.
Oh man, that's
my old saws. You got to reach in here, and hard to get to.
So what I do is tilt it up on the tip, and that puts the bar all the way up, because when you're cutting, your force is going to be on your bar, and your bar is going to be pushing up. So if you have your bar down and you don't have your nuts real tight, your chain's going to be loose, but you got to be careful. You'll over tighten your nuts. So to get away from over tightening, to compensate for your bar moving, if you'll put the weight of the saw on the tip of your bar and adjust your chain accordingly.
Now, do you run a longer bar a little tighter than you would a short bar?
Not necessarily. I mean, with a new chain, honestly, it ain't gonna really matter because it's gonna stretch, so we'll end up having to do this again.
Okay.
So I don't get it super tight, just enough to where it ain't gonna fly off on you. Because when you tighten the nuts down, it'll tighten up even more. And something with these newer saws, not so much on the pro models, but I don't torque them down super tight. You don't really need to herc them down.
Yeah, most of the time they're into a plastic case.
Yeah, and the homeowner saws they are. That's another downside with that.
Now we're gonna do a cold start, and I'll prove to you, this thing hadn't been cranked since you run it yesterday
when I did the test video.
It's cold, so I want to see how it does on a cold start as well as you guys did.
Did you want me to start it?
Yeah, you saw that first one.
Well, I'll start it and I'll let you saw it, because I've run it.
Now, you recommend just a little bit of warm-up time on a cold saw?
I do. They say, I think a lot of it's personal preference.
Nothing likes to go from 0 to 12,000 RPM.
No, especially when it's a little cooler, but I don't on anything. Different people crank them different ways. It all depends on how you want to do it. With these things, you pump the bulb 10 times. On the second pulse, you ought to start. If all the stars align, push your decomp down. And I take it on the inside of my leg because it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier on the saw if you don't drop start them.
hope you can see it on my face. That is wicked.
They're a lot of fun. Thing's full of black ants.
That's about as hard as you gonna get around here, other than maybe locust. Some, it's still green, but it's been cut a couple months, white oak, and that thing ate it up. I only had that top cut, I started stalling a little bit, just eased up on how much pressure I was giving it, and shoot. If you never run a saw, there's an art to learning to run one. You gotta find the horsepower level, chain sharpness, and you lay into it right at that point. Keep it screaming. Because once you start bogging a two-stroke, you run out of its power band. It needs to be up there. Run it like you stole it.
Yeah, you got to find the sweet spot.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to bear into it. Sometimes you just hang on and let the saw do the work. Now, I've made some cuts here. Do not try them at home. I laid into that log, then I stepped over and I plunged down through it because I didn't want to saw into this back log. Be careful doing that. This saw's big enough to get away from me. But I've run one since I was 7, 8 years old. I appreciate Shannon building it. That's what I was looking for. I don't like to run a stain saw, but we have to. And when I do run one, I want it to run hot, run fast. Let's get her done. Because our money's not chainsawing. Our money's over here running sawmill. Yep. This is a tool to make our job do it better. I appreciate it, Shannon.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it.
Oh, that's everything I was looking for. Now, like I said, it's screen turn on here. That's everything I was looking for a saw. My dad's got a brand new 372. I bought mine used many years ago. Rejugged it. It is a great saw. Served me well. It ain't this caliber.
It's a beast.
Yeah, that 372, 71 something cc.
Yeah, 71 cc.
So it's almost 10 cc bigger. Plus he's done his magic to it. I'd highly recommend it if you saw wood every day and you just want something still lightweight, modern, and a beast. Call Shannon. He'll hook you up one of these.
Yeah, we'll hook you up.
You sell across the country, ship it?
I ship in the 48. I shipping and you go towards Alaska, you get your shipping cost kind of outweighs. I've done it, but it's just not practical for most people. I don't ship international.
No.
I tried that one time and it got hung up in customs and it was just too much trouble. But
Now,
going back to what Eric said about running a built saw, it's not for everybody. Even the pro saw level is not for everybody, but in his line of work where he makes his money production, he don't make money if he's sitting still. And when you have something that's a little bit more performance, where you just tiptoe into the pro line, or where you get into, a more built saw with a little bit more performance, time is money. In this day and time, you got to spend your time wisely. And if it saves you 10 minutes a day, you figure that times 6 days a week, you figure that by the month, that's more time to do quotes. That's more time with your family. Time is something you can't really put a price on. Yep. So, you got the fun aspect of something, to put a smile on your face. I seen Eric there, he was pretty excited. So that's what makes me happy as a builder, to see somebody enjoy it and know that it's going to save him a little time. He's going to get a good use out of it. The longevity, it's going to last him a little longer. He's getting that heat out. So I think it's going to be a good addition, and I think it's going to make his production. He's got a new mill coming as soon as he gets her wired up. And so I think it's going to be a nice addition to his future goals, and really help him put the production out. And there again, that's time. That's more quotes, that's more money in your pocket, whichever you want to use your time for. You can't really put a price on that.
Exactly. That's why I bought a new mill. Does mine work fine? It works excellent. Mm-hmm. It's just we've reached a point in productivity that we are either going to have to work more hours or produce less product. And I don't want to work any more hours. I've worked hard my whole life. And I don't mind working hard here, but I don't want to work 100 hours a week.
Right.
So if we can buy a piece of equipment, chainsaw, a sawmill, that increases our productivity, and we can do the same work with less hours, that gives me time to enjoy my family, my grandkids. I got 5 of them. I love to spend time with them.
Right.
I like to do a little fishing, take grandkids with.
Yeah. Fishing.
And I can't go do that when I'm working night and day trying to keep up with the production difficulties that we're currently having.
Yeah.
And this will help that. One quick thing, would you recommend the muffler and the air filter just for a stock 500?
Yes.
Can you sell those?
I do. I sell those. You can go to Jason Egan and order them from him. It's Egan Performance Saws, or you can order them from me. I charge exactly what he sells them for, shipping and tax. You know, I don't. There's no upcharge on that stuff.
If you're gonna spend this kind of money, a muffler mod is a
must.
lifesaver.
It's a must. Even on the stock saw. And one of the downsides, if there's any downside with a 500i, the stock air filtration is not the greatest. That's kind of the known in that realm. At the very minimum, I would put a filter on it. Not only because you have better filtration overall, but you have something that's reusable. If you maintain your equipment like you're supposed to, you will save money over time. I think the new, right at $75, you got tax and shipping. I think comes out being like $80 for a filter.
Yeah. Well worth it for this price point.
Right, but there again, it comes with the serviceability. You know, the initial investment's a little high, but you got to look at it over time. The lifetime of the saw, that potentially will last the lifetime of the saw. You know, if it's taken care of and re-oiled, and you know, maintenance-wise, you'll save it in the end. It'll catch up.
Well, I'll say we're gonna wrap this up, guys. I am not a dyed-in-the-wool, Husqvarna, Steel, Echo type person. Same way with Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge. Yeah. I like them all.
Well, it works.
They all make good cars, and they all make junk at times. And Steel, Husqvarna the same way. I'm interchangeable. I got some friends that are, you know, orange till they die, and some of them are, you know, white till they die. And I'm like, dude, they both make good stuff. Pick what you like out of each one and run them. And I do. I've got several of each.
Yeah.
And pound for pound, this is the most impressive thing I've ever got a hold of. I'll tell you that right now. It's hot for the size. Now I've got a bigger saw, but it ain't this wicked. It's more of a torque pulling long bar
torque monster. Yeah, absolutely.
I was kind of underimpressed when I run it the first time, but I had to remind myself, you're running a 4-foot bar.
Exactly. That's a lot of chain to be pulling.
That's a lot of chain to pull through there, and it didn't bog down with a 4-foot bar. It just
zipped right through.
Goes through. But I bought this to do a different job. I bought it to buck these logs and buck them quickly, buck them efficiently, nice and straight. And I appreciate Shannon doing it for us.
I enjoyed it. I enjoy the customer having a smile on their face, and you know, knowing that they're got something that's, you know, work in general is work, but when you can add a little fun aspect to it, and you got a little rumble, and you know, it's it's something fun too. So.
I've never bought a built saw. I've got a couple that my cousin did some portrait polishing to, and they were better than stock, but I'm gonna let him run this one day. He's a chainsaw aficionado. He's got many of them. I think he'll like this. Yeah. But that's gonna do it. I got one thing left to do. I gotta go write Shannon a check. But guys, we appreciate you tuning in.
Thank you.
For all means, goodness sakes, go check out Shannon's channel, 417 Saw Shop. He'd greatly appreciate it. I know. He's dipping his toes into this YouTube world, and it is another career. It takes some time to kind of get your fingers and toes wrapped around.
I've got a lot of respect for those YouTube guys. It's a lot of time. It slows down your, slows down your production. You know, because you gotta edit and you gotta know upload. And
I'm fortunate. You know, big shout out to Matthew and Solomon doing my videos. It allows me to run a business and try to do YouTube without all that time at home, sitting in front of a computer that I'm not the best at.
Yeah, me neither.
They're real good at it. But I
might have to put them on my payroll one of these days, maybe.
But big shout out to Matthew and Solomon. Don't forget to check out Solomon's channel, Third Beard Fishing. Also Wood Mizer. You know, we're big fans of Wood Mizer. Now I'm orange till I die with Wood Mizer. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Wood Mizer.
I got one too. I enjoy it.
Yours is
LT15.
LT15, yeah. So you can watch some Wood Mizer videos on his channel as well. You know, we've upgraded to a 70. But if you're looking at a 15, go back, check out some of his videos, see what you're looking at getting, what you're gonna.
It's good entry level meal.
Good, you know what you
get your
expect.
toes wet.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to buy another one.
I'd love to. I've got so many projects now. It's I'm deep in the projects.
But that's gonna do it for today, guys. As always, we appreciate you watching. Thanks for coming and spending time with us. If you would like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, Shannon.
I appreciate you.
And we'll see you back at the mill.
Thank you for watching. Here's a video selection and a playlist suggestion. Click here to subscribe for more great content. We'll see you at the mill.